Hello students, in this lecture we will discuss detection and recovery method of handling deadlocks. When this technique is used, the system does not attempt to prevent deadlocks from occurring, it does not take any recovery action or try to avoid deadlocks from happening. Instead, it lets them occur and then tries to detect when this happens. And once detected, it then takes some action to recover from the deadlock. Now, when will the system execute the detection algorithm? Either it can do it periodically or it can measure the system performance, and if it falls below certain threshold value, then then the operating system decides to run deadlock detection algorithms. So how are deadlock detected? We will discuss two categories. One, when there is only a single instance of each resource. So we have discussed in the previous lecture also कि when there only a single instance of each resource is present, then we can detect deadlocks by simply detecting a cycle in the graph. So, and in multiple instances resource type, a presence of a cycle is not a sufficient condition to detect deadlocks. So, here first we will discuss when in the resource allocation graph we have one resource of each type. So, in this particular diagram we can see there are 6 resources and 7 processes. Processes are represented by circles and squares are used to represent resources. An edge from a resource to a process indicates that that particular resource is held by this process, and an edge from a process to a resource indicates that that process is requesting a resource. So, in this diagram process A is holding R and requesting S. Similarly, C is also requesting S, F is also requesting S, and D is also requesting S. So, all the alphabets that are represented through circles are processes and through squares are resources. So, this is a pictorial representation or resource allocation graph, and we can see कि we can detect a cycle by looking at this graph. D say D is requesting T, T is being held by E, E is requesting V, V is held by G, G is requesting U, and U is currently allocated to D. So, there is a cycle in this graph. It is indicating the presence of a deadlock. But if you are asked to write a code or algorithm for this, so what we do is, for each node n in the graph, we perform the following 5 steps with n as the starting node. So, we will take each node one by one. We take an empty list L and all the designated arcs are unmarked, sorry, all the arcs are unmarked. Then we will start with one node. Suppose in this particular diagram we start with A. So, we will start with A and then proceed. So, we will follow all the outgoing edges at current node to end of L and check to see if node appears in L 2 times. If it does, graph contains a cycle and algorithm terminates. From given node, see if any unmarked outgoing arcs. If so, go to step 5. If not, go to step 6. Pick an unmarked outgoing arc at random and mark it. Then follow it to the new current node and go to step 3. If this is initial node and the node graph does not contain any cycle, algorithm terminates. Otherwise, dead end. Remove it, go back to previous node, make that current node and go to step 3. So, what we will do in this diagram, suppose we start with A. So, we will check its outgoing arc, that is going towards S. So, we will mark this and we will add A to L. Now, S will be the current node. We will see, is there any outgoing arc? No. So, we will leave the list here. We will again start with the next node S. So, there is no outgoing arc, so we can select D. Now, for D there is an outgoing arc going towards T. So, we will add D to L and then T. Then T say outgoing arc is towards E, so we will add E. We will keep on marking these arcs as we have visited them. Then from node E we will move towards V, from V to G, G to U, and U to D. Now every time we add a node, we check whether it is already there in the list or not. So up to U, you will not find that they are already present, but when you reach D, you will see ki D is already present in the list L. So there is a cycle in this graph. So this, in this way this algorithm works. Now deadlock detection with multiple resources of each type. When multiple copies of some of the resource exist, then two different approaches are used to detect deadlocks. One is again the same method, a resource allocation graph based algorithm, and or we can select a matrix based algorithm which is used for detecting deadlocks among n processes and m resources, each resource having multiple instances. So here we will first discuss resource allocation graph based algorithm. So what we do is, actually we select a process having incoming edges only. If there is no such process, then search for a process which is requesting a resource having some instances free. So first, from in the resource allocation graph, we will check whether a particular process has only incoming edges. All incoming edges means that that particular process has all the resources it needs for execution. It is not requesting any resource, so it can finish its execution. So first we will check for a process who has only incoming edges. Once we find such a process, then we remove all the edges and assume that process has finished its execution, and thus freeing the resources. So the resources thus freed can be allocated to other processes, and if you are able to remove all the edges, then this indicates that there is no deadlock. But if it is not possible to remove all edges, then there must be some processes involved in a deadlock. But you have to keep this in mind that there should be at least two processes. You cannot have a deadlock with a single process, so there should be at least two processes there to indicate a deadlock. Now we will take this algorithm. Here we have R1, two instances of R1, then we have R2, three instances of R2, and two instances of R3. There are four processes P0, P1, P2 and P3. Now P1 is holding R1, one instance of R1, and is requesting one instance of R1, and it is holding one instance of R2. So P0 is holding one instance of R1 and one instance of R3, and it is requesting one instance of R3 and one instance of R2. Similarly, P2 is holding one instance of R2 and is requesting one instance of R3. P3 is holding one instance of R2 and requesting two instances of R2 and one instance of R1. So this is basically a resources allocation graph involving three processes and three resources and four processes. Now see, we will check whether a process has incoming edges or not. Now in this, P0 has two incoming edges and one outgoing edge, and the outgoing edge to a process to a resource where that resource has no free instance. Similarly, P0 is also requesting an instance of R2, and no instance of R2 is free. But here P2 has one incoming edge and one outgoing edge. P2 is requesting one R3 and we have one R3 free. So what we can do is, we can allocate this instance of R3 to P2. So when we allocate this instance of R3 to P2, now P2 has only two incoming edges, it has no outgoing edges. So P2 will finish its execution. Once P2 finishes execution, one instance of R3 and one instance of R2 gets freed. So what it will do is, sorry, here, so P2 has finished. So now this instance of R2 can be allocated to P0, and this instance of one instance that was freed was or can be also allocated to P0. So now P0 has all the incoming edges, no outgoing edge from P0. So now P0 can finish its execution. So first P2 was able to finish off, then P0 is now P0 has finished its execution. Now in the next case, we have one instance of R2 freed by P0. So that instance can be allocated to P1. Similarly, R1 also can be allocated to P1. So now P1 has all the incoming edges. So now P1 can finish off its execution. So now all the resources are free, rest of the 3 processes have already finished their execution. So all the resources that P3 was asking for can now be allocated to P3. So P3 will also be able to finish its execution. So there is no deadlock as you are able to remove all the edges in this graph, and the safe sequence is first P2 followed by P0, then P1 and P3. Now we will discuss matrix based algorithm. In this algorithm we have two matrices and two vectors. The first matrix is basically the allocation matrix. So we have one row for each process and one column for each resource, and each entry, for example C12 entry in the allocation matrix, will indicate the instances of resource type 2 allocated to process 1. Similarly, C22 will indicate the number of resources, instances of resource 2 allocated to process P2, and so on. So row n is current allocation to process n. Similarly, request matrix is what that particular process is currently requesting for. For example, the second row in the request matrix will basically give you the information for all the resources that process 2 needs further to finish its execution. Now the vector total existing existence matlab total resources in existence are given by this vector E1 E2, means that is the total number of resources, instances of all the resources currently available, and then the available resources A1 A2 to AN in this vector, this contains the information that after allocation these resources are still available, which can be used to satisfy the request of the processes. So each value of A1 basically can be calculated from the sum of column 1 and can be subtracted from E1 to get A1. That means A1 is equal to E1 minus sum of column 1 in allocation matrix. Similarly, A2 will be equal to E2 minus sum of column 2 in allocation matrix, and so on. So what we do is we looked for an unmarked process Pi for which the ith row of R is less than or equal to A. That means whatever the pending request for a particular process, if the pending request of a particular process, all the requests are less than or equal to the available list, then that particular request can be granted. So if such a process is found, we add the ith row of C to A and mark the process that this is able to finish off, and then we again go back to step 1. If no such process exists, the algorithm terminates, indicating a deadlock. So for the same diagram, resource allocation graph we discussed. So there were 2 instances of R2, 3 instances of R1, 3 instances of R2 and 2 instances of R3. Available were only 1 instance of R3. R1 and R2 were all allocated. So this was the allocation matrix of that particular graph. P1 had 1 R1 and 1 R3. P0. P1 had 1 R1 and 1 R2, P2 had 1 R2 and P3 also had 1 R2, and these were the further request matrix that each process was requesting for. So what we will do is we will see whether these resources, so 0 0 1, so we will be able to finish first. We will check 0 1 1 is not less than equal to A. 1 0 0 is also not less than equal to A, 0 0 1 is equal to A. So it means we can satisfy the request of process P2. So we will assume that P2 has finished off its execution. So whatever allocated resources P2 has, that is 0 1 0, we will add to available. So available will become 0 1 1. Now 0 1 1 again, P3 is not less than 0 1 1, so we will proceed, we will go back to first row, that is P0, it is 0 1 1, so P0 will be able to finish it work. So हम 0 1 1 में we will add 1 0 1, that means the resources allocated, तो ये हो जाएगा 1 1 2. So 1 1 2 के बाद हम P1 को finish करेंगे क्योंकि it is 1 0 0 is less than 1 1 2, so P1 will be able to finish off and then we will finish P3. So all the processes are able to finish their work requesting the resources one by one. So in this way we can say there is no deadlock in this algorithm. So, this is the method, matrix based method that is used to detect deadlocks in a graph. Now, once the deadlock is detected, we try to recover from it. So, there are three different methods through which we can recover, that is recovery through preemption. So, in some cases it may be possible to temporarily take a resource away from its current owner and give it to another process. Choosing the process to suspend depends largely on which one have resources that can easily be taken back again, but we have to keep this in mind कि we do not select the same process again and again, then starvation will occur and one particular victim process will not be able to finish its execution. So, we have to take into account several factors if we use this method, that is recovery through preemption, which resources to preempt. Suppose there are two processes, one process has nearly completed its execution and the other process has just started. So, we can select the second process. So, we can take the resource away from the second process, the new process, and give it to the old one because it has finished its work to a large extent. So, so there are several factors which will decide which processes which will be the victim process. Then recovery through rollback. Then processes can have checkpoints periodically, or when a deadlock is detected, it is easy to see which resources are needed. So, to do the recovery, a process that owns a needed resource is rolled back to a point in time where it acquired the resource by starting at one of its earlier checkpoints. So, all the work done since the checkpoint is lost. So, again किस process को select करना है rollback के लिए. So, there will be several factors. If it is a very high priority process, we will not select it. So, there are several factors that will affect this decision. Then we have recovery through killing processes. The simplest way to break a deadlock is to kill one or more processes. One way to kill a process in the cycle is to kill a process in the cycle. So एक जैसे जो processes cycle में involved में you start killing them one by one. तो when you kill a process, whether the cycle is removed or not, no, then you kill another process and so on. So it is best to kill a process that can be rerun from beginning with no ill effects. So only idempotent process can be killed. Suppose a process has done some work. Suppose it has deposited some amount in a bank account. So, if you run this again, you will again ask to deposit the same amount in the bank. So, it will be not correct. So, only idempotent processes can be killed, which can be rerun without any ill effect. So, idempotent processes or instructions are where the key, if irrespective of how many times you execute that instruction, the result will always be same. For example, I is equal to 5 or C is equal to A plus D. So, if A is 2 and D is 3, how many times you add, it will always be CB5. So, such type of instructions where irrespective of number of times you execute that instruction, the result will be same. So, such type of instructions or processes are referred as idempotent processes. So, the only idempotent processes are generally selected for killing when this particular method is used. So, this is all about detection and recovery. In the next lecture, we will discuss deadlock avoidance approach using Banker's algorithm. So, that particular topic is most important as far as your exams are concerned. Thank you.